there are so many reasons why I got into teaching.
One of the best things is the light bulb moment.
When you see a pupil suddenly understand something, that's really, really special.
Every child is so full of potential, and the thing that makes me proudest to be a teacher is seeing them realise what they are capable of.
I don't think any other job can give you the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search, apply to teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your host, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Here we go.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 640. This is your host, Danny, and joining me this week, co-host of the show, Paris.
Good morning, Danny. How are you? You were missed the last couple episodes. So glad to have you back.
What's up with that, Paris? What's up with that? Yeah. Wow. It's been over a week. I haven't been here. Over a week. That's good, though, man. I needed that break. Too many things going on behind the scenes. But
I needed that break, too. Glad to have you back now.
Wow, shots fired. Hey, what's up, Pete? Pete's in the house, too. How's everything?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. What's up with you?
Nothing much, man. It's early Sunday morning. Spent the late night streaming with the community on Ghost Recon. Fantastic evening. Good times.
Yeah. So there's Ghost Recon, also the new Zelda, Nintendo Switch. And speaking about Zelda, guess what we have here as a guest? She's back, ladies and gentlemen. Cookie Monster herself, Mandy.
The Cookie Monster herself. Hello.
How's everything, Mandy?
I have to agree with Pete. It's early, but he has like 2 more hours than I do. So that's...
What time is it over there?
Just past 7:30.
Ooh. And Paris is even earlier than that. All right?
Yeah, it's 6:30.
But it's normal for you, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't count.
It's all good. All right, head over to gamertagradio.com or play.it/gamertag. Listen to our past episodes. And you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and other podcast directories.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so Mandy, we have to talk about this. The Nintendo Switch. We've been playing now for like, what, couple of days now.
We've had 2 days.
But yeah, isn't it 3 almost?
I guess.
Almost 3 days.
Does today count?
Well, I got it.
It just started.
I got it earlier than you, though. I think I got it earlier than you.
Yeah, because I didn't pick mine up at midnight, so.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. But yeah, oh my God, I've been playing it nonstop. What are your thoughts about the Switch? Before we talk about Zelda later on.
I like it. Now, I should preface that I do not own a Wii U, but it's so far done everything that they've promised me and that I wanted it for. Most of kind of like, I guess my issues are all small things and unusual use cases. I mean, like my biggest frustration is like where the analog sticks sit on the Joy-Cons because they're so off from each other that it throws me off a bit, but that's about it.
And how's like connecting online, downloading anything? Have you been downloading any games? Because I have already got like 2 games from the digital the eShop.
I've literally just been playing Zelda.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately
not,
good. But so I can't really speak to that experience. It was kind of entertaining to have to do the whole friend code thing again, but at the same time, the system is, a couple of steps. So I hope they get the network ID running soon, but it's not an absolutely horrible experience to just add people via friend code right now.
That's true. A lot of the listeners been hitting me up too and adding me. I think when you go to the add friends at the bottom, there's like a suggestion, like you see like a section of like other people that you might know. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have been adding me for the past few days. So that's cool. really, really cool. And I added you, Mandy. So every time I turn it on, I see Mandy playing Legend of Zelda, which is awesome. But here's the thing, Mandy. I had to get a screen protector because I've been reading, reports here and there of people like while they're putting their Switch inside the dock, sometimes they'll get scratched. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm not taking any chances. So I just bought my screen protector like 2 days ago actually, and I added to my screen.
I picked one up day of. So I had it shipped to my office, and once the Switch arrived and I finished what I was doing, I was like, I'm working from home this afternoon, guys. I just stopped at a Best Buy and picked up one, but that's because I know how I am. And pretty much all of my electronic devices that have a screen get a screen protector because I am clumsy as hell. And I fully expect that I will drop or almost scratch them at some point. So
you don't say.
Yeah. But I read that the Joy-Cons are more fragile than the actual screen.
Really? I mean, I guess I haven't done too much with them. I haven't thrown them or anything like that. So I guess I've only used them once as like just Joy-Cons versus either on the device or on the like controller attachment thing, whatever that's called. And I mean, they feel so small that I kind of assume they're a little more fragile, but I haven't like had trouble with them. So maybe just don't throw it.
So
yeah, that's true.
Now that you guys have had it for more than 24 hours, you guys have had a good run of 4 or 5 days of pretty much every potential use case. How often are you actually using the Joy-Cons, and should it really be a difference maker in someone purchasing a Switch?
Like the Joy-Cons by themselves?
Yeah, the size, in comparison to using it.
I've only had one use case for myself personally so far, which is that I have my road bicycle set up on a trainer in my living room. And I actually was like, let me leave the system on the dock and I'm going to ride, and I'll just have the Joy-Cons in my hands so that I can like be comfortable and not be holding a controller. And that was no problem. Anything else besides that, I'm still not sure about. That said, I'm going back to visit family and stuff next week. And I'm seriously considering picking up like snipper clips or something else, and really like test, having two people sitting there with the Joy-Con just playing a game. But so far, I wouldn't say it's a game changer, but I also don't think that most of my use cases really apply to what they're trying to sell it as. If that makes sense.
Okay. What about you, Danny?
Well, what was it? Yesterday, I spent some time playing Snipper Clips with Jenny, my fiance, and we were playing it for a very long time. There's been some arguments, some some cool moments while playing that game. But I attached the Joy-Cons, and she had one, I had another one, and we were playing that game the whole time, man. And at first, it felt weird because I wasn't used to it. But after a while, I got used to it, and it wasn't even that bad. I think it depends on the game. Like I think I mentioned that a couple of days ago on our Facebook page here.
Okay.
I mentioned that if it's like a game that has like a lot of mini games and it's something like that, I think it's cool to use it. But if it's like a game like Zelda, I don't know. After a while, it might get a little bit uncomfortable, So yeah, I like it so far, man. It's a lot of fun.
Have you seen any difference in battery performance as a result of using the Joy-Cons versus if the Joy-Cons were connected and not draining as much of the battery?
I mentioned this too during our live stream, that the night that I picked up the Nintendo Switch, I turned it on immediately. So I noticed that the left side, I think the battery was kind of dead. And that's when you start losing connection, when the battery is not fully charged. So I was like, let me charge it, whatever. I did it, and the next day was fine. I know there's been reports of people having issues syncing the left Joy-Con. I haven't had that issue yet. And the only one time that happened was because the battery was basically like almost to zero.
So,
yeah.
Have you done, I'm assuming you've done sessions, because I didn't really get the answer I heard, or I wanted to know.
Which one?
So, all right, so you've done an extended play session with the Switch in your hand, like sitting on the couch or what have you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you said you've had an extended play session with Jen doing snipper clips. So was the battery performance
both TV and also when I took it out from the dock too?
Okay, so in that instance, was the battery? Did you get the same amount of reported battery performance, 2.5 to 3 hours, playing Breath of the Wild while sitting on the couch outside of docked mode, as you did with, like, say, snipper clips while you were using the Joy-Cons, or were you using the Joy-Cons while it was docked?
I noticed. I noticed that there was. Wait, for you talking about from the Joy-Cons or from the screen? Actually,
no. I'm trying to determine whether using the Joy-Cons drastically, uses up the battery versus if they were just docked onto the side of the Switch and you're just using them normally. I'm just trying to figure out the battery life difference.
I honestly haven't noticed anything drastic when I played both games. I did notice the difference when it comes to the screen itself. So when I was playing on the go, I was playing Zelda. That's when I noticed that my battery drained a lot. But a game like Snipper Clips and Fast RMX, that's another racing game that I've been playing to a lot. I think the battery lasts a very long time while playing those games like that. So I think it depends on the game, man. If there's like a lot of things going on, that's when you notice the difference, man, when it comes to the battery. But it's not that bad. It's like 2.5, maybe 3 hours or so.
Like a game like Zelda. I actually timed it. I took it off the dock, attached the Joy-Cons onto the console, and started a stopwatch. And with Zelda playing straight, outside pausing for like refilling a water or something, that I got about 3 hours and 15 minutes before it went into.
Oh, that's not bad.
Before it went into sleep mode. It gives indicators at 15% and 5% being like, yo, your battery's dying. So from that perspective, like, I think that's about what we heard was around 3 hours for Zelda. So it was in line with what I was expecting. 3 hours, 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending if you count the time. I paused the timer when I was, anytime that I actually paused the game and stepped away. But I also... short test, unfortunately it's not full scale, limit of 2 days, short tested the power bank that I bought, and it is a very slow charger, but it does charge the Switch, and that's a 5-volt 3A power bank, because I know we'd had an article that said like the standard 2.1A would not charge it, so it was very slow moving, but it was charging.
If you have it on.
Yeah. So this is what I was playing Zelda, and I plugged in. It's a 30,000 mAh battery. I bought it intentionally because I was like, I want something gigantic to hopefully, charge this thing. And the 3A was able to do it. It was slow, but playing Zelda at the same time that it was plugged in, it was still charging. So I think it's just it's going to depend on what the power conversion is on the bank that you have. So like most of the standard ones right now probably will struggle with it. But I was like, okay, so in theory, I'll travel next week and I'll actually get to test out the full breadth of how it performs as a truly portable device, and see, with that type of power bank, how long am I extending a play session? Am I turning a 3 hours on Zelda to like 5, or is it just, delaying the inevitable and I get like 30 minutes? I'm pretty sure it's more than that because I got 45 and it was charging and the battery was still hadn't gone below 70%. But
cool. What about you, Paris? Any questions?
No, I don't think I have any real questions because I think Pete kind of asked a lot of what my curiosities would be. My main thing is this, and I've been saying this obviously for the longest. My pre-order of the Switch aside that I did not keep, I'm not hearing why I should have a Switch right now. That's what I want to hear. I'm hearing, this kind of sort of works. Oh, the battery, this. I'm not hearing, oh my God, this is the greatest hybrid console / portable thing. And that, I mean, I know you're going to talk about Zelda in a minute, but what about, go ahead, Nanny, go ahead.
Who am I again?
Yeah, go ahead, Mandy.
Okay. It's like, what? And here's the reality. I don't think that anything has changed from our conversation, 2 months ago, in the stance of, as of right now, it's not doing anything exemplary yet. I think my opinion will change once I've had a real life traveling test of it, flying, being not connected to power outlets, or having that option for, multiple hours to really test, like, what is this experience? Is it really a home console that's portable? But otherwise, I don't really feel like this instance is anything different. This is really like, are you sold on having that portability right away with the games that are immediately available? And if you're not, then I think that there's definitely some things with the console that I look at and go, there's some really cool stuff you guys can do with it. Now you just need to deliver on that. But that's not right now. Like, really, if you weren't buying Zelda, it's not something you have to have this minute.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, in all honesty, this is the first console I've ever actually pre-ordered. Every other console outside of one unusual case, I've waited months until the game I wanted came out. I waited for Oblivion and Ghost Recon on the 360. I waited for Infamous Second Son on the PS4. So until you hit that point, it's just a new piece of hardware. And if you're not, oh my God, I have to have Zelda, or you're not, oh, I need it right now because I want that portability, maybe because it doesn't have the games you want, then, it's not a, you have to have it moment. I think later in the year, after they've had some time to touch up stuff, there's a lot of cool things I think they can do with the system as a whole and with the UI that I looked at and was like, oh, I can't wait to see what they do with this. But, until there's that game you really want, it's not you have to have it right now at launch.
Right.
Totally agree. And the potential is there, though. That's for sure.
So,
big time, the potential.
So let me ask this to both of you. What is your preferred mode to play it in? Like, long term, what is the mode you see you most using the Switch in?
On the go. That's I prefer to play that instead of on my TV.
I think
because I'm always traveling. So, and at the same time too, like yesterday, I went out with my brother and my nephews, and we were playing a couple of games. Like, we took the screen out, and we went outside and we played Bomberman. We played a little bit of 1-2 Switch, and I showed them a couple of games there too. So I prefer that, man. Especially that I travel a lot. I think this is like perfect for me, man. So
I'd say I'm split because I really bought it for having that travel ability. And it seems like that'll work, but I have no problem. It's just so easy to literally be able to drop it in the dock and play on the TV. And I'm not seeing any kind of significant difference in performance of the games or anything like that tells me it should be in one or the other. So I'm probably going to be completely half and half. When I travel or when I have a use case for, popping it out of the dock and taking it with me, I totally will. And then when I'm at home, it'll just be, do I want to play it as a handheld sitting on my porch, or do I want to put some time on the TV?
One thing I'm very surprised is seeing the amount of people that purchase this system. That I think one of them, a good friend of mine, Alex Bam Beats, for those that don't know, he purchased a Nintendo Switch, and the last time he purchased a Nintendo system was Nintendo 64. Wow. He's a very huge PlayStation fan. He doesn't play Xbox at all. But I was very surprised, seeing a lot of people like that, man, that haven't purchased a Nintendo system in a very long time. Buying this system, so it's cool. The potential is there, man. I see Nintendo in the future. Of course, with the updates, it's gonna get a lot better. Plus the software, especially Mario Odyssey, and now in a month or two, it's a Mario Kart and Splatoon and so on. So it's I think it's gonna be good, man. Once they release the updates and more games in the future, man. I see the potential.
So do you has there been as many complaints about inventory allocation as there was? I think the Nintendo Classic may have been an outlier. I think they just did that purposefully just to not flood the market, just enough to satiate the consumer need, but enough to make it extremely desirable and keep the media and the people talking about it. Whereas, are we seeing the same amount of complaints about trying to find it as we are with anything else?
Depends on the location. My location completely sold out in Miami. You can't find it anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't know how it is in other areas.
I think it varies depending on where you're at and like how gamer electronically oriented where you are is. Like, is there a polite way of saying that? That said, I also think that this one's a little bit of a different position because like the classic was really this, nostalgia factor item, and it wasn't the same price point. Whereas it seems like the feeling I've gotten so far is just that a lot of people, they're either, even though there are people on the fence, they understand how the console market works. And so it's like, hey, if I don't buy it right now, in 6 months, I totally can. But at least around me, definitely sold out. They sold out while I was picking up Zelda at midnight.
Okay.
You could watch the video when I was streaming, Pete. There was a long line at Best Buy, and there was a lot of people that pre-ordered, but there was also a lot of people that
just showed up.
That was the day they just showed up to buy the system. Yeah, and a lot of people were showing up. I think they were there maybe like between 60 to 70 people at Best Buy.
Say that's probably about right for where I was at as well. That they had about, I'd say, 30 to 40 pre-orders. From what I could tell, and then like an additional 30 or 40 in stock. And while I was getting Zelda, they had sold out of the extra stock already. And there were still people in line that were at least like picking up other stuff, being like, well, I'll go someplace else and try and get one.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really tried. I haven't gone out of my way to try to find it. I did find myself at a Best Buy yesterday. And I casually, I walked by the Switch, the Nintendo section just to see. I mean, I may have walked out of there yesterday had there been one left on the floor or what have you. I may have just picked it up and got it just to get it.
Really? I'm surprised you're saying that.
I might have. I mean,
you're saying that.
Remember, I've told you I'm likely to get one closer to the end of the year, but the hype is starting to wear on me. It's like, dude, it's a new one, and hearing everybody saying such good things that it outweighs whatever minor or minute negative reactions had been, like, the battery life, the standard internet naysayer type responses, like trying to find the negative in it. There hasn't been many, short of, a Joy-Con issue, with syncing. Someone like me is rarely going to disconnect the Joy-Cons and play with them anyways. I'd rather play, the way it was intended. So I may not have that experience or have that complaint.
2 points.
I'm not gonna lie. If I happen to walk upon one before September and they're available, I might just pick one up just to have it ready and go. But right now, Paris mentioned this earlier in the show. I said it last night on the Twitch stream. It's a really good time to be a video gamer, right? Because you've got so many games and experiences on multiple platforms. Yeah, and especially on so many different platforms that it's really hard not to have a good time in 2017 playing a video game. One question I wanted to have for both of you, since you guys have done docked and tablet mode, I guess that's the term for it. How does the video translate going from that small 720p screen on your touchscreen to, let's say, a 1080 or a 4K screen?
Depends on the game. Like for Zelda, you could tell the difference a little bit. I find it when I'm like tablet mode, it's a lot faster compared to playing on a TV. But other games, it's like the same. So I think it depends on what type of game you're playing. So
I don't really notice too much of a difference, like outside of kind of what you would expect is that suddenly all of this, color and visual input is coming from either a smaller or larger screen. And it, takes me a second to really myself adjust, but it's just as crisp regardless of which one it's on. The colors are just as vibrant. And I myself, at least, outside of, once or twice right after docking, having it take a second to switch over into TV mode. I haven't noticed anything that tells me that my experience is significantly different between the two.
Okay.
I will say though, Pete, is you're not the only one. I've actually had a lot of friends who are like, yeah, I'm not pre-ordering it, being like, oh, well, it turns out there's nothing horribly bad about it. If I happen to stumble across one, I'm probably going to buy it. Okay.
Like I said, and it's not a full moonwalk. It might be more of a casual moonwalk on this.
Casual moonwalk.
I just see you walking past an aisle very, very slowly and then sliding back.
Just slow side eye as you saunter past the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, again, it's not that it's not that it's got so much negativity, attached to it. It's just it might have been more of a questioning of, okay, because it's first gen, is there going to be a lot of experiences of things not working?
Yeah.
And there's basically been nil. I mean, yes, there's a minor issue with a specific Joy-Con, and that's more likely a driver or
here's the thing:
hard pressed to be a hardware error.
My understanding of that, and I have not had any issues, but somebody recommended that when I had the system started up, to attach both the Joy-Cons to the screen and then do the firmware update, and that would resolve the issue. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I've not had any issues with that Joy-Con not syncing.
Same here.
So my understanding from it is just that maybe they're not properly attached to the main hardware when somebody did the firmware update that should fix it. So it was kind of either attach them when you first do it or attach them, afterwards, and just make sure that they're properly, on, I don't want to say properly updated, but essentially so that you're not just updating the main hardware, you're also updating the attached
How difficult was that whole process of updating the
not hard at all.
Firmware?
Their UI is so clean, so easy to use. I'm actually it 100%. It feels a bit bare bones right now. Admittedly, I'm literally only playing one game, so that might be why. I'm not like Danny. I haven't yet picked up a few, though I've been looking at snipper clips and fast RMX. But just getting into the menus and getting to system update, it's a 3-step process. If that, settings, system update, getting up to your profile, adding people, same thing. Profile, friends, send friend request. So in that sense, and it's why I think that there's definitely a foundation for framework there that looks really good. And I'm quite excited to see what, if anything, Nintendo does with it moving forward, because I think that there's a lot of functionality that can occur with how they have things set up. I quite like the UI, which is more than I've said for some console UIs. And so everything was set up was quick and easy. I mean, I probably could have been playing in less than 20 minutes if I hadn't also been working at the same time.
I tell you this, compared to using a Wi-Fi connection with the Nintendo Wii U and also the 3DS, this seems a lot more faster. Even downloading games and playing online a little bit. Well, I'm only playing online one game. I think the Fast RMX. Mm-hmm. That's the only one, and it's a lot smooth, no lag. When I downloaded the update, it was super fast.
Yeah, the update was quick.
Really quick. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like it's a lot better online connection, Wi-Fi connection compared to the Wii U and the 3DS.
Yeah. So and that's the thing is ultimately, full disclosure sort of thing. I don't think we're using some of those functionalities to the full breadth that would test them yet. My internet use so far has literally been just adding friends and the firmware update. So, take that with a grain of salt. I'm really waiting to see what the experience will be once Mario Kart comes out, and we'll be taking a larger, more full advantage of the online system to see how it really works.
And I'll see you online, Mandy.
Dude, it's on.
Yeah, it's on. Paris, any other question before we go to Zelda?
I think we kind of gone on long enough, so I won't drag this out any further other than to say.
Go figure. It's the Nintendo episode, and I'm the one asking all the questions in Paris is quiet.
Well, you've asked the questions he wanted to ask.
I guess.
Wow. Did both of you just become Danny? Because I thought I was trying to answer what I was going to say, and y'all just cut me off.
Yes.
All of us did. Yes. You're in a room with 3 Dannys.
No, I mean, I'll just simply say this because you know, obviously, I made the little tweet. Oh, I pre-ordered it, the Switch and everything, and everyone was giving me crap about it and all that. And I mean, you know, I had the thought in my head when I initially saw it, the impulse thing. I was like, you know what, just pre-order it and then think about it afterwards. But at least you got it reserved, right? And then I thought about it, and I realized I don't need this thing. I do not need it. Like I said earlier, there's way too many other games out right now. Everything that you guys are saying. I still have a concern about the Joy-Cons. I've yet to even see a Switch in person yet. I've yet to see one or hold one. I still want to do that. But I'm not seeing a reason right now with only Zelda to own a Switch. So I stand by what I've said. And, you know, I'll probably get one down the road. I could see me getting one before E3, kind of like you guys are saying for Mario Kart. But the Joy-Con thing is an issue. I'm seeing various reports. Some people say it's okay. Some people are like, oh, man, I got big hands and things are freaking tiny. So I need to hold a Switch and make a judgment for myself on it.
I will say that multiple people I know who are much larger than I am have said that outside of like having them attached to the screen and being in handheld mode, that they much prefer having the Pro controller for like TV mode and stuff, which totally makes sense. You know, your hands versus my hands are 2 very different things. I don't have any trouble with the Joy-Cons on that little controller attachment thing, but I could see somebody with much larger hands struggling with that a bit.
Yeah, if we go to an event, Paris, I'll take it so you could try it out if you're there.
Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
like E3 is good.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Take it out.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, so let's go very quick with Zelda, Mandy, because I know Paris and Pete want to talk about a little bit about Ghost Recon. Not reviews or anything like that, but, you know, impressions later this week, hopefully an official review. But Mandy, what are your thoughts, impressions of Zelda?
Oh my God.
I'm loving it.
Now to lead with this, I am a Zelda fangirl, but I feel like they've taken the Zelda that I know and love and then added in some elements of that we've never really had to this scale on a Zelda. And it's so good. So good. I'm like 10 to 12 hours in and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of it.
I think they added some Witcher elements in there.
Yeah, well, I love the scale of the open world and just how everything is traversable. Like the fact that I can literally be like, oh, I see something over there, let me go pick it up. And then I see something a little further. And then suddenly I've climbed a mountain and I'm like, oh man, I'm like 3 regions away from where I was supposed to be. But this is so cool. And that you have like the map system and being able to drop markers on stuff. It's like, oh, can't find these guys yet. Let me drop a skull on this space so that I know to come back later when I'm stronger. Or, you know, oh, here's a treasure chest that I can see but I can't get to. Let me drop a chest on my marker. Like the fact that you have 100 things you can just drop all over the map to keep track of things, because it's so easy to just like wander off and explore and see things. I mean, I'm personally like just loving it.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the side quests more than the actual main quest stuff. So, but it's a lot of places to go. That map is huge.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
It's huge.
I'm like so not far on the main story right now because I get so easily distracted by every little thing that I pass or every little thing that I see.
And one thing that I really, really, truly love is that now the enemies hear you if you're close by. So you have to like be really careful if you're running or going like slow, because that's how you could also capture like a horse, for example, if you want to ride it and stuff. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Have you?
Yes. You have to be sneaky.
Yes?
I have.
Very sneaky.
I do have one horse now, but there was lots of failure, and I keep trying to get These ones that are like a bluish color. I really want one of those, and I just fail miserably every time. So like the whole idea of being sneaky, I don't think it's necessarily to the scale of like other games, like you would say like Dishonored or something like that, or Splinter Cell, but it's enough to make the gameplay, I guess, just more interesting in the sense that, you know, it was very, very linear, very singular gameplay experience than a lot of older Zeldas. And this is, here's different ways. So you can sneak into a camp where the enemies are sleeping. And if you're sneaky enough and you don't fail miserably by accidentally stepping on something or what have you, you can take them all out. Or you can just run right in, wake them all up, and have a fight on your hands.
I just throw bombs or I use my arrows and stuff. So, but there is an icon where you can see if you're too loud or you're like really good with the whole sneaking around the area. Like you could tell like the icon at the bottom right.
Yeah, the like sound waves.
The sound wave. Yeah.
So there's just
it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I feel like they've evolved how I play Zelda, but still making it a Legend of Zelda game. And there's a mix of things that are, you know, familiar or just sort of familiar. And then a whole lot of things that are new, but have been crafted in a way that fits the Legend of Zelda experience. In a way that, you know, with other games, like I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, like everything about that is this just awe of this new world that you're learning. And Breath of the Wild is really this kind of awe of a new world and kind of finding how they've done things differently, but also like a secondary level of just this rediscovery of the experience that I think would speak to Zelda fans. You know, the music that they play when you walk into the ruins of the Temple of Time was like heart aching because of, you know, the memories you have with that particular landmark in multiple games and things like that.
What are your thoughts on the voice acting in this now?
It's been good so far. I don't particularly like the voice they picked for Zelda, even though.
Oh wait, I haven't.
Okay, I won't go into detail. I'll say like I don't particularly like the voice they picked, at least in the English version. But I also see how that voice choice fits for that character. That's all I'll say.
Okay, cool. Anything else? No, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
We could go to the next.
Do you guys have any like Zelda questions?
Yeah. Go.
No, because I don't want it spoiled, so no.
Yeah. And that's the I'm actually having to be careful because I will say this, having that like single touch button to take screenshots is so amazing in a way that like on the other like, you know, PlayStation and Xbox One, I feel like it's not quite as smooth. But the downside of this is friends that are playing are constantly taking screenshots and uploading them. And I have to actually stop looking at them because some people are farther ahead than me. So even though I want to like see, I want to see names. What cool, I know which one. I want to see what cool like things they're seeing. And I've probably taken like 200 screenshots and I've only uploaded one. But I'm also like, no spoilers. I don't want to see what you guys have gotten to yet because I know that I'm so far behind you.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm curious how, I mean, because, you know, for all intents and purposes, I mean, we've seen or read all of the reviews and review scores, you know, the 5 out of 5s, 10s out of 10s, the 20 out of 20s for this game. And I wonder, can it be better? Or is there anything in the game that is holding it back? Or is there any quirks in the way the game came out that just you don't understand or don't realize why they put it in there? Could it have done better?
Nothing I've noticed yet. That said, I feel like I'm only a very small portion into the game in the sense of like the main stories and stuff. And even in exploration, I think I've really like opened up the map on maybe 4 of the regions. So there's many more, but I've yet to have like a moment like you tend to have in games where you're like, oh, I'd wish they'd done that differently. That hasn't happened yet. But I feel like there's probably going to be more stuff in the sense of like, as I actually progress the story, that things will get unlocked. And so I feel like I'm only playing with like half of the arsenal right now. So I can't say for sure, but so far I've yet to have that moment.
Okay. then 2 more, at least from my side. Because, and again, I'm the Nintendo noob when it comes out of this group. So, I have questions, right? And obviously you guys are probably the right people to ask these things. Anti-aliasing. My concern is if I have this game docked on my 4K TV, is it going to have, the jagged lines or the jaggies, as people like to call them? Is it going to be that bad that I'm going to be like, you know what, let me just disconnect it. I'd rather just play this.
No.
Tablet mode.
Very minor, Pete. Like it's not something that's gonna like ruin your whole gaming experience with Zelda. So I seen those, but it's like very small, Pete. Very small.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I've only had it once or twice while it's been docked, and it's like a split second, and by the time I've registered it, it's already gone. Now, granted, I think I'm just running at 1080p, so I can't talk for like 4K or anything like that.
Right.
And my TV's also, I'm pretty sure, significantly smaller than yours.
Yeah.
So that experience is like caveated with those 2 things. But in terms of, actually noticing it and having it affect the gameplay experience, it hasn't happened for me yet.
Okay. And then the last one, and this comes to no surprise, I've said it on the show, and if it does surprise people, it's me, so deal with it. I've never put more than maybe 30 to 45 minutes into overall the entire Legend of Zelda experience from back in the NES all the way through to 2017.
You make me cry, Pete. Like there are tears right now.
It's a lot of people like that.
Not as many as you would think. I'm like that 1%. I finally made it to the 1%er. How difficult will it be? Maybe difficult is the wrong word. How easy will it be for someone like me who has never, and I'm going to just say never played it, because the time that I did play was so far in the past that I don't remember anything.
Okay.
Other than it being like a top down, walk around and try to find things type experience. How easy is the story or the experience to get into? And am I missing anything major by going into Breath of the Wild completely, exposed and naive and non-understanding of anything in the Legend of Zelda ethos?
No, I'll tell you this, Mandy. Hold on, I know you're the big fan here. You're the big one.
You could tell, like my mouth was open as I thought about what to say.
I was ready. I had to stop her. I had to stop her in advance. I tell you this, Pete. Remember when you played The Witcher? Mm-hmm. For PC, the latest one, right?
Mm-hmm.
You never played 1 or 2.
No.
Am I right?
No.
That was the first time you experienced The Witcher.
Yep.
So it's kind of similar to this. You don't need to play the older ones to understand the game. I think they did a pretty good job explaining a little bit, like when it comes to the controls, the environment, how to play, and a little bit about the story. So you don't need to play the older games. Like if, let's say you're brand new, this is your first time, then you'll be fine. Mandy, go for it.
Exactly that. Ultimately, most Zeldas are like a Final Fantasy. There's not direct sequels. They're just set within the same universe with some common themes. And I think that this one is, they explain enough of the background that give you an intro into how the game is played well enough. And that the bulk of the things that are really throwbacks to any older Zeldas or any of the previous games in any particular way are all very subtle. There are things that will in no way affect your gameplay experience, but that are a nice kind of nod to people that have played Zeldas in the past. Like there will be areas that if you go to, a stable where the horses are, the music that's playing there is reminiscent of the music that they've played anything related to Epona in the franchise, in terms of like, and the whole time I'm there, I'm like, oh, Epona, a horse, riding the horse, and like that sort of thing. But it's not going to have any kind of effect on your gameplay experience. So it's a good nod to the past, but still being really fresh and not as tied in to make it off-putting for anybody new to playing Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Paris, any last questions before we go to the next topic?
No, I think you guys summed it all up pretty well. We can go on to the next topic.
Paris is like, now I want to talk.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so very quick, let's talk about Ghost Recon Wildlands. The guy's been playing it. for a couple days now. So, Paris, you want to start off with Ghost Recon impressions?
Sure. Pete and I have both been playing the final version of Ghost Recon Wildlands, and by the time you guys hear this, it should be coming out the very next day. And I can say right off the jump, I've been playing the PC version. It's not 100%, but they fixed the driving and the flying from the beta.
Did they?
That was the first thing that I noticed. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's better.
It's not as
that's
bad.
That's a good thing. Yeah, not as bad. I had a blast. I had a lot of fun. I was playing with some people from Ubisoft. We did a 4-player co-op. Went through a few story missions, did some side mission stuff. I was streaming it on my Twitch channel, and it was great having the audience participation there because we weren't being successful. Let's put it that way. So just the comedy and the laughter that we're having for some of the epic failures trying to tackle these missions were great, and it was kind of clicking with me. Like at one point I was flying a helicopter and it was at night, and I just flew it up as high as I possibly could, and I just did a 360 degree just looking at the whole open world of Bolivia. And like I said, it was at nighttime, so there's like all these lights and everything that was turning on from various buildings and settlements and everything, and it clicked with me. I'm like, oh my god, I can go anywhere that I see in this game, right? And it was flipping huge. There are just so many different mission opportunities and side mission opportunities that are available in this. And the best way I summed it up, I was saying it to people in the Twitch chat. The best way I can say it is, if I have 3 of my buddies, we're gonna have a freaking blast playing the game. It's just gonna be fun while it's playing. I don't think, and again, this isn't a review yet, but I don't think the single player experience is going to translate as well as far as the fun factor goes, because you're dealing with 3 AI. But just the random, and you never know what's going to happen next with 3 other people, playing it co-op is the fun factor in here. And I have to use the D word here. It's similar to Destiny in that way, where
Dun, dun.
Oh my god!
It's similar to Destiny in that way, where it's the fun factor of co-op, the unexpected. And we'll play it more and see and all that. But that's just my early impressions from playing it this weekend. And I'm sure after this call, Pete and I will probably jump in and play it some more. And then, like I said, by next episode, we'll have a full review and understanding of Ghost Recon. But I mean, I'm digging it. Definitely digging it with the beta, with the beta shackles taken off and everything being unlocked now. I'm definitely digging it. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's funny because there's that initial area it's literally the same exact area from the beta, but it almost seems like we missed stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And I actually did this on the stream last night, and it's what you talked about, how that one area that we were in is one of 21 different regions in the game. And when you slowly scroll back on the map, and I did this on the stream last night so people could see it, and we talked about it for a few minutes, was how it takes you minutes in one of the faster vehicles, whether it's a helicopter or what have you, to just traverse from one side of one region all the way to the other. What is it? Itaqua, I think it was that first region. And then I started to slowly pan back onto the map, and I started highlighting all of the other regions and their size. And then it's just like that you start to really, truly grasp the amount of overall land that you're going to have to traverse. I mean, thankfully, fast travel is available in this game, because having to travel, I remember you and I first commented on Witcher 3, having to travel from, on horse from one side of the map all the way to the other took a while. This is going to take longer on much more technologically advanced vehicles, unfortunately, with Mandy involved.
Way to throw me under. For the record, I was the best at flying during the beta.
Yes, you did. And you did successfully land that one day. It's funny. And your name did come up last night when the plane mission came up.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
This is like the one game I can use flying vehicles in. Like I can both operate a plane and a helicopter.
And agree with Paris. Although I kind of appreciate, I like the looser feel of the vehicles. You tend to be able to whip a car around a corner. Not as realistic as most games, but I do. Yeah, they did tighten it up a little. enough where they kind of kept the looseness, but enough to make it feel a little bit more controllable. Some people may not like that, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be a showstopper for people. I don't know. Early on Friday, because I got it on Xbox first, the review code, and I kind of got a little bit of the burn of the same level, the same stuff that I've already done. I was like, do I really got to do this all over again? But then I got it lit up on the PC and I started streaming, and it was like, starting from scratch. Okay. Cause I'm playing with all these people now that are just watching, and we're talking on the stream, and we're, et cetera. It almost felt fresh and new, because at that point, having to do the repetitive stuff wasn't a drain. It wasn't like, I got to do this all over again. It was almost like I was doing this with people. And I think that's part of the reason why, like Parrots and I are having so much fun doing these streams with the people, because it's almost like a brand new experience, even though you've already done this 2 or 3 times.
So, question, because the open beta, especially on PC, as far as I know, or from my experience, had a bit of struggles in terms of like randomly crashing, and just like I had so much trouble I couldn't be running anything else at the same time. Does it seem like most of that somehow got resolved between that beta and the final product?
I don't know if I've had as much issue. I will say yesterday when I tried to stream, or Friday night when I tried to stream via it was yesterday morning or Friday night. I tried to stream via Xbox One. I don't know if maybe that Gen 1, Day 1 Xbox is just natively has issues where I can't stream. But I will say, graphically, it's not as beautiful as the PC version. But I haven't had any issues on the console itself, other than from trying to stream Twitch. But I think that's just a hardware Twitch issue and not game related. Okay. As far as playing on the PC, I'm on an i5 6500K with a 1080p with a GTX 1080, 16 gigs of RAM on a SSD. I had one issue last night in game where it froze on my monitor, but it didn't translate to the stream. My initial stream attempt on OBS was horrible. It was laggy, and the first set of stream had a 3 to 5 minute span where like 10 or 15 people were all in the chat. Dude, it's laggy, it's crap, blah, blah, blah. They started flaming it. And so I killed it, rebooted my machine. Shout out to some of the guys from the Discord server, because they popped up and they're like, they were doing recommendations and stuff like that, setting the processor affinity to normal, which it already was. And then I used NVIDIA Experience. 0 problems. It was smooth. I had to restart it because at the beginning I lost my audio, but once I restarted the game itself, it was perfect. And we did like a 3-hour stream after that with no problems. I'm not seeing any issues, other than I think they added more graphic packs. I think when they did the open beta, they didn't push as much of the video assets, which they typically don't on betas. They're just trying to test network connectivity and see where the issue is. But I haven't had any issues. The truer test, though, will be come Tuesday when the servers go live for everyone around the world.
More people.
And with as many people that are looking forward to this game, that might be the only concern I see moving forward. Because for the most part, and it's not a dig on Ubisoft, but unfortunately, they haven't had the best server experience. So I just hope that they've used that time well between Rainbow Six and The Division to see just how much the server infrastructure needs bolstering. And hopefully this comes across with little to no launch issues. So we'll see.
I have one last question here for you, for both of you guys. So what other changes they made too? What about AI? How's that in the game now compared to the beta?
Still the same. I don't think it's different.
So
no issues.
Any other changes besides the driving that it was like you could tell the difference?
Just going back to the visuals for me, anyways, because I am playing it in 4K Ultra. I noticed at first I did have to turn on VSync because I wasn't hitting a consistent 60 frames. Obviously, I'm just running a single 1080 card. I'll have a TI soon, but
The moonwalk happens. Yes.
So, what do you mean a moonwalk happens? I never said I wasn't. No, I didn't. I've never said I wasn't getting a TI. Never said it. Anyways, moving on. I had to set VSync, turn on VSync, and lock it at 30. Once I locked it at 30, smooth experience at 30 frames per second, 4K ultra, no issues at all. I mean, the game looks great for an open world game of this size and scope. I mean, it looks fantastic on a PC, and that's why I'm glad, because I had the option to go PS4 or PC, and I kind of waffled for a minute, and I was like, you know what, I want to play it on PC, so I just went PC, and I'm glad I went that way. And I'll say to everyone listening now, if you're PC gamer, join our Discord server or Discord channel. Come play Ghost Recon with us. Obviously, play other games, but definitely come play Ghost Recon. It was a blast. Yeah.
I won't, since you guys have kind of already addressed it, and I know this is first impressions, I won't turn it into a question, but I will say you've said some great stuff, and I played it myself, but you guys actually haven't sold me on it. So I'd definitely be interested.
Well, you didn't sell me on the Switch, Mandy. So
no.
We're even.
And so I would be interested to see how you guys address two main points, which is that you both are running much higher, a much higher scale system than probably is typical. I mean, like, I'm running an i5 and I have the 980 GTX. And I felt like even when I adjusted the visual settings on the beta, that it was a struggle where I was like, okay, what is my experience really going to be in terms of crashing and freezes, and literally Discord having trouble running in the background during beta. And then the second being is, it sounds like you guys said so far, and I'd love to see you expand it a bit in the full review, is that this is really a best experience if you're going to be able to sit down and play with friends, and that if you're just playing solo, it's going to feel a bit stale. So
that's my advice as far as the solo goes. I do think it'll get stale quickly doing it that way, but co-op is a highlight. Obviously, I truly believe this is the way the game is meant to be played with other people.
First time playing it by myself, like playing it last night on my own from the beginning. I think because there's so much to do and it's the initial run through, I don't think it's as bad being a single player experience. Obviously, you're going to have more fun with co-op, but because it's new, it's a new experience, and you're experiencing new things, you're finding new weapons, you're finding new areas to explore. It's not that bad. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more fun. I mean, and that's evidenced by, when I've played with people in the game. I don't know. I mean, and if we're not selling it for you, I apologize. Maybe you still have a lot of Breath of the Wild fresh in your mind, and that's your primary focus and goal right now. But I think you're going to miss out, because I'm having fun in the single player experience. And I know, because we've already done this in the closed beta or the open beta with multiple people, it's a lot of fun with four people. It's always more fun with people than doing things, by yourself, unless it's like sleep, right? But I don't know. I'm digging it. And yes, I am a Ghost Recon fanboy. I'm a shooter fanboy. So I have more of the tendency to draw towards those things. But hey, I'm enjoying it. It's bringing me back into gaming, where I'm coming home and I'm doing things, and I'm devoting nights to doing it, which is something that has kind of fallen off over the last 6 or 7 months. So it's kind of bringing me back into that, and I'm digging it.
Cool. Well, yeah, I was going to say, keep those thoughts in mind when you guys do your full review. I'd love for you to have a bit more time on it and get a bit more feel of it to see if your thoughts stay the same.
Sure.
All right. So we're going to end it here. Head over to gamertagradio.com or play.it/gamertag. Listen to our past episodes. And also you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and other podcast directories.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
And we're going to end it right here. And one thing I do have to say is I watched Logan this past weekend.
Oh,
Woo! My God. Paris, you're right. This is legit. It's legit. Any final thoughts about that, Paris? Very quick.
Oh, I'll just simply say it took almost 20 years, but we finally got the Wolverine movie we deserved. I think that's easy.
We finally got
I can
the
say it.
X-Men movie we deserved. Although the primary class.
Pete, this is my opinion. Who are you, Danny? You
No,
Danny
I'm
this
not-
episode. Anytime I give an opinion, you don't change in my opinion.
I am not disagreeing with you.
Salt,
I'm not
grump.
saying you're wrong. I am just saying I'm just adding my 2 cents to it. That's it.
He didn't ask you though. He asked me.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow, shots fired.
You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Wow. Shut down. All right, Pete, you can finally have your own opinion now. Go ahead. You have permission now.
I agree with Paris.
Way to be difficult.
On that note, we're out. Peace. Later.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.